Next up, we have Deputy Superintendent Scott Jones. Is he? Oh, he's being.
He's being.
Yep, here we go. Here we come. We'll be discussing our monthly budget report.
Deputy Jones had to handle a situation, so I will be standing in for him. And if you give me 1 second, I've also lost Deborah apparently. Deborah's right here. Can you put it up? Yeah.
Can we state name, title, all of that as you're bringing this up, please?
So I'm Natalie Grange. I'm the Assistant Superintendent of Financial Operations. And
Deborah Jacobson, Finance Director.
While Deborah brings up the monthly budget report, there's only a couple items of note that we wanted to bring to the attention of the board this month. First of all, I believe that this should be the second month that you all received the electronic version of the board report. That should have gone to your email accounts. That's the board report where you can access individual expenditure line items if you want to see more drill down capability. Again, we just ask that if there are any board members who aren't receiving that or aren't quite sure how that works, if you could let us know and we'd be happy to help you.
When Vice Chair Brittany Cummins. Okay. Oh, so we definitely have one.
Okay.
Can you be specific on what your challenge was, maybe here?
I just haven't received any information on how to access or where to get those. So,
Did you receive the email?
Not that
Okay.
I can find. I looked for it and I couldn't find anything.
Okay.
So
Did you?
I can talk to you.
And any other board members receive that?
Yeah.
I didn't receive it either, but I've been having problems with
I know
Outlook.
I got mine and you were all in the email too. So I'll look for the one that I have and resend it out. I'm not sure if the superintendency was on that email. Were they?
They were.
Okay.
I didn't get it either.
Okay.
I know that here in the building, a lot of people were getting it in their junk mail. It was filtering to junk mail, and it should come from me.
Can you speak into the mic a
sorry.
little better? Thank you.
The email should come directly from me, or appear to come from me, but I know that it's gone into junk mail for a lot of folks.
Oh.
So
Good place to look.
Sift through your junk for a really important email. Okay. From, let's see, what month are we even on? Okay. So we are reporting on period 5. Again, I don't believe that we have any anomalies or anything strange to report pertaining to the board report. This is for a month in November 30th. The only one, or the major thing of note, at the very end of November, the governor's office released the carryover amounts that were being held, and so we were able to set those budgets up. I don't believe are they in here?
for federal.
For our federal programs, the budget amounts should have been in there, and the state amounts are being loaded right now, if that's correct. And so on the next board report for month in December, you should see those budgets now start populating where previously they've just been blank. And so we wanted to provide, that's really only the only major change between last month and this month.
Just a quick comment. Once you have those changes, instead of waiting for our next report, maybe when you get those in there, if you could just send that out to us earlier.
So this Saturday, it's month end. So on Monday, you should be receiving period 6 report, and they'll populate on there for that month.
Okay.
So we'll keep tabs on that email and try to forward it to you again, just to make sure that you all get it.
Okay. Superintendent Dixon?
I did just find it in junk email, and it was December 11th was the date that it came in. So everybody might want to check that folder.
You're basically looking, if you find your junk email and restore that, you're looking for a file that ends with the extension MRHT, I think. That's the one that will allow you to drill down. You might have also received a PDF file That will be a static one, like the one we load in board docs. I believe we've also been loading the MHRT and the administrative content portion of board docs. So you should be able to access that there as well. I don't believe that we have anything specific related to specific sections. We did want to cover some areas related to the discretionary fund today and talk through that. If there are no questions, that's the only items we had planned to discuss.
Any questions from board members before we get into the discretionary funds? Board Member Reby.
Thanks. Can you tell me again, who am I receiving this email from on December 11th?
It comes from my email address. So it says deborah.jacobson@schools.utah.gov.
Right.
I'm not seeing any other, and I don't think everyone's finding it. So if we have a problem, board members, on this, if you would take that concern to Lorraine, and then maybe we can do kind of a mass email through Lorraine of how to and what to navigate the challenge. I've got a few people still not finding it in their junk or whatever. Okay.
You do the discretionary.
We want to welcome Deputy Superintendent Scott Jones. Natalie's doing a good job without you, by the way. I'm glad you're taking care of business, but please be seated.
We actually just got to the discretionary part, so if you want to cover that.
Okay.
Tomorrow, during the Deputy Superintendent of Operations, Scott Jones, tomorrow during the Finance Committee, one agenda item is to start the process of determining basically what amounts to a spend plan for the discretionary amounts that you see in the upper right-hand corner. So the sources obviously are state funds, federal mineral lease, all the ones that are listed in that upper right-hand corner of the report there. Land exchange. And so we want to tomorrow focus with the Finance Committee on those. And the reason why I'm taking a little bit more time here with all of the board members is this is a great inclusive process where board members can say, hey, look, I know I'm aware of some discretionary amounts that's in our board budget. This is your section or board budget that we could use, potentially for items or information or materials or anything, travel if you need to, type things that you might want to let your Finance Committee members know, your peers on the Finance Committee know of some ideas you might have on that. We're not trying to make an absolute decision tomorrow. It's a perpetual process, so we'll keep everyone informed of that process. We just need to make sure under the Budgetary Procedures Act that any non-lapsing balances and all that we're accounting for them, and then we're also coming up with, particular plans for them. We did actually start this process in the previous month, so if you'll scroll down a little bit, you can see also too that we keep you very updated on dollar by dollar where your decisions in the prior months have taken place and where we're at in the spending patterns. We identified some contingency funding materials on that. So if you have any questions about that, we always give you the opportunity during this particular agenda item, both for section budgets and your discretionary fund budget. Again, if you have any clarifications you need to make or anything like that. So we did want to spend a little bit more time with you today so that you could orient yourselves as board members and especially the Finance Committee members to that upper right-hand corner. So I want to talk just a little bit more specifically about land exchange money. The amount that's there may not seem like a lot, it doesn't too, but it's an opportunity for us. It's pretty generic or I don't know, maybe ambiguous on what you can use the land exchange for, but what it does really point to is that it's intended to be used to evaluate programs. I think that's fair to say, using staff and facilities. So my point with that is especially if you're a Finance Committee member, there is an opportunity here to maybe look at, because you're also going to talk about in another agenda item, you're also going to, and we're trying to correlate things with you and all this type of thing, you're also going to talk about, potentially looking at programs to further define outcome measures in those, and by board rule, I think it's agenda item 6.4 or something late, that too, or maybe you already got to that. But my point again with that is that this funding right here, you could actually identify, say, maybe a particular program like EARS, and we could hire or provide material or whatever using that funding to further develop or look at, hey, is the money that's going into it's just an example, into the EARS program, is that being used and are we getting the outcomes that is designed for that particular program? So just something to think about on that too. This has obviously a lot of attention from the legislature, from the governor's office, from state finance on what our balances are and all that stuff too. So we're just really excited about all the different opportunities we have to put our funding and the taxpayer dollars to good use. To promote the individual outcomes, or to promote the outcomes of our individual students and prepare them for life after high school. So any questions or concerns with the briefing, either on the monthly budget report itself or on the discretionary funds, and moving into the Finance Committee tomorrow, where we'll spend a little bit more quality time on this particular piece.
Board Member Cannon.
Just a curiosity, can you explain to me what early retirement stipends are and who's getting that money?
Sure. There was, we had several employees that had reached particular points in their careers where they were right on that cusp of, 30 years or retirement type activities. It's pretty common place across the state to periodically offer retirement incentives as a bridge to get them to that 30th year, or to go ahead and incentivize them to retire. And we had nine employees take the opportunity to do that, and that's where you're seeing that each employee would receive $8,000 towards their retirement at that time. We felt that was really an acknowledgement of their years of service, career-oriented. It's something that we talked about previously a few months back on that too, and this is the source of funding that we use for that. So there was about 15 employees that were eligible, but about 9 of them took it, and the feedback I got, I didn't talk to all 9 of them, but 3 of them came forward and said, it was really nice to just be able to bridge that and have that opportunity after serving for 28, 30 years, doing all that stuff too. So about $8,000 a piece, ma'am. So
Follow up.
Just overall, who makes these decisions on spending discretionary funds? Is this at the purview, does the superintendent have discretionary money to utilize
So
in this
these are-
budget?
Right. So these particular ones were brought up as part of the staff's recommendations as that process that we took with you and other finance committee members on the use of the discretionary funds. It was a lot, because we have all of these types of budgets, your section budget, the other section budgets and all that. And we had asked if we could use that. We weren't very specific on the amounts because we didn't know quite yet what we were going to do, but we get board approval on what the spend plans are for these. And we had received approval to go ahead and offer retirement incentives and all that too. Most of the HR policies or procedures and things like that we can do as a superintendency. We don't try to bog you down with the individual type too, but we always make sure you're aware of what the sources of funding are for these incentive programs. So to answer your question, the retirement incentive was pretty much done internal, the ability to do that. Like I said, it's pretty much done statewide, but we always, made sure that you knew what the source of funding would be for that. So it's a combination of both the board knowing and your trusted staff, the superintendency and all that too, with what's available policy-wise to do things.
So Scott, it's safe to say that early retirement stipend is going to be active again for next.
Not necessarily.
Next year,
I mean,
or
we
is
have to, what we try to do is if we only have it seems like the threshold is if you have 10 or more employees that kind of fall into that, if it's only 4 or 5, we don't really do that. I mean, again, there's not really, something concrete that says, hey, if you have 8 employees or you have 10 or all that too. It's just where we'd reach 15, we thought it would be a time to offer that, to 15 employees. So, I won't say that we'll do it again next year, because if you take it in the context of, well, there was 15 employees and 9 took it, that's maybe 6. So maybe we offer it to the 6 again, on that too, but I'm not sure we'd expand
So
it to that.
what time, to come back to Board Member Cannon's, at what time are we made aware of when we're going to offer, when you make that assessment and when you're going to offer it, at what month will we be made aware so we can do it?
It'd probably start around the month of August, you know, moving forward into there, because typically the incentive, maybe, well, we don't have board meeting in July like we did last time, but, you know, typically when we start to realize what the carry forward balances are and we see what the priorities of the board are and all that too, we start in the month of August, because retirement usually occurs, in this case, retirement usually occurs at the end of the calendar year. So then we would start that process on too. Also, I think I'd be remiss if I didn't point out that this decision was tied in a lot to the whole reorganizational structure and everything that we've been briefing perpetually the board on for over the last couple of years. So this is all part of that incentive in aligning the positions correctly and doing all those types of things too. So where you can offer retirement and make that bridge, acknowledging all the years of service and the productivity that those individuals give, it frees up positions and all that stuff too for proper alignment along program
To come back into
support.
finance and that, it'd be safe to say August, September,
Yeah,
bring it,
Yes, sir.
bring it to finance that we have a
Right.
targeted X. We
Yeah.
take a reserve on our budget.
right. We always tell you what the non-lapsing balances are and what staff recommends, you know, we use those for. But we do need your help still. I mean, we still have some non-lapsing unrestricted funding in these other categories, you know, that we would really like or appreciate board direction on where you think would be most beneficial to you on these
Natalie?
particular categories.
The one thing that I wanted to add is that it is very important that we ensure and make sure our employees understand that this incentive that was offered this year was one time. If the board wants to offer it again, these decisions need to be made on a one-time basis to ensure we stay within GASB requirements related to other post-employment benefits. We don't want to create a early retirement incentive package that would obligate us to liabilities at the state level.
So in an effort to manage expectations of these board members that will come through finance, most likely August, September, to say, okay, there could be this opportunity for X, let's make sure we
Right.
have that. Let's make that offering, so
Okay.
we can make sure on the finance side. So board member Wright, make sure you make some kind of note on that it'll be around that time.
Okay, yes, sir. Yep,
Okay,
absolutely.
thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Any other comments? If we could go back to our discretionary funds, I think it'll come up tomorrow on looking at a particular program. Part of what we're supposed to do is have this dialogue and discussion of how best to use it, but it doesn't hurt to have a contingency, which we've
Right.
marked at the same time. So if there is a program, if there's something unique, something that you want to do, it's real important for you to just bring that forward at some time, and you can bring it
Sure.
forward by passing it on to finance or
Right.
get two or more or whatever. We make sure it's on the finance the agenda.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
let's be
Yeah.
mindful of.
Yeah, I would just emphasize that, echoing the chair's statement here, is that we're not trying to decide tomorrow. You know, we just want to start this process. We want to make sure, though, that even beyond the 5 finance committee members, that other board members have an opportunity to see, recognize that, and if there's specific parts to that, to communicate with your finance peers and with your staff. We're here for you.
Which means some of us can be advocating a particular program or some
Sure.
special project or something. This is a good way to
Right.
start the discussion, to get that funding in place, to take a look at something or
Right.
make something.
And we'll always advise you on the proprietary of the use of the funds. If it gets to that point, we'll always get the
Restrictions and
legal
that.
opinion of it, all that stuff too. That's what we're here to do for you. So,
Okay.
one of the many things. So, okay.
Not seeing any board member comments or anything they want to advocate. Yeah, we do right here, board member Cannon.
So Natalie, it looks like you just sent us all an email, correct? And so I'm looking at the email you sent to me, and it has that was it MHT
Yes.
thing? And it is blocked. The access to this attachment is blocked. Recipients may not be able to view the attachment either.
We'll get our IT department on that and have them come help you. So the email that I sent was the one that came from Deborah's email on December 11th, the one that superintendent found in her junk box.
Okay, so, yeah, well, just, yeah, if you'll resend that and give us access, that'd be great.
I'll go to Jared. He'll come, yes, he'll come and fix this, so, yeah. See, I just wanted to make sure
Jared.
everybody was still listening to me, so, you know, all good. So, yeah, I'll go to
Okay.
Jared, so, we'll get you fixed there, ma'am, so.
Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, thank you very much.